guys, it's Lisa. Welcome to Banning, Panning and Beyond and my entries, empties and exits for July. So I'm filming this on the 31st of July, and two things I wanted to mention before I get into the rest of the video is that number one, I have had some issues with not being alerted to comments being left on my videos, and I know I'm not the only YouTuber that has happened to. So I did write something in the description box in a previous video prior to this one, and I did mean to mention it in the very next video because I know not everybody reads the description box, but I'm mentioning it now. So I just wanted you guys to be aware. I think it's fixed. But if you do leave me a comment and I don't respond, it's not because I'm ignoring you. I do really appreciate when people take time out to leave me comments. It just makes putting these videos out it feels so worthwhile to have that interaction. So I have tried to make a conscious effort to go and check, but I just wanted to apologise just in case anybody has left me a comment that I've missed and I haven't responded to. Please know that I'm not ignoring you. So like I said, hopefully that has been fixed. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I am heading away. My sister's birthday is coming up at the start of August, and I'm going up to spend a night with her, and we are doing another girls trip up to visit my auntie. As some of you may be aware, I lost my uncle back in April to lung cancer, and with the virus I haven't been able to travel, and it looks like you know, restrictions may come back in place again at some point. So I'm going to, while I can, get up there and go and spend some time with my sister and my auntie. So I will still be having videos going up during that time. I don't know how much time I will be spending on social media. I really don't know what to expect. So any other YouTubers that are watching and don't get the usual comments on their videos from me, know that I will catch up when I get back if I haven't while I'm gone. So so that's it as far as those 2 points, I think. So let's get into the rest of the video. So the first thing I wanted to cover was my budget. Now I did say I wasn't sure how I was going to tackle this because any shipping from overseas can be significantly delayed. So even if I spend money 1 month, I may not get the product for another month or two. So anything that obviously I buy within Australia, generally I'll get sort of within a week, if not a couple of days. So it all just comes down to what I buy. So what I'm going to do is let you know that I have purchased something with a particular company, but obviously I won't be able to show you the product if it's from overseas sometimes. So I'm just going to mention that I've bought it, and then when it arrives I will show you then. So you may sort of hear me reference something in two separate videos in that regard. So so I'm going to just quickly run back to my budget. I've got my laptop in front of me to let you know that with transitioning from my no buy over to my low buy, and actually before I get even further into the details, I did want to sort of bring up again that I did mention in the past that I have a video comparing the differences and the grey areas with no buys and low buys, and I think the biggest difference for me, and I'm not saying I'm the only one obviously that has done it, but with my replacements only no buy, generally people do not have budgets in place. They just stick to the fact that they're just going to get a replacement, and they're not very mindful. And I can thank Hannah Louise Poston for that. When I was watching her videos at the end of her no buy, that she mentioned even though she was on a replacements only, she still spent a significant amount of money, particularly on skincare. So that sort of it was a good heads up for me that just being on a replacements only no buy is not necessarily good for the wallet, and I wanted to put that budget in place. But it kind of blurs the lines of a no buy into a low buy. So where you could say I was on a no buy, a replacements only no buy with a budget, you could also say that I was on a replacements only low buy because of that budget. So I guess for me it was always very blurry. And the only difference now that I've transitioned from the no buy part is the fact that that budget that I still have in place and hasn't changed is no longer restricted to replacements only. So I can buy basically whatever I want within my restrictions of my budget. So it doesn't have to be replacement only. But I do find that for the majority of things, I still want to get down to having just one of a lot of things until I get really close to using it up. And unfortunately it is hard for me if it is coming from overseas for me to judge exactly how long that particular product will last me before I buy a replacement and make sure that that replacement arrives in time. So it's not really that big of a deal, to be honest. So and I do try to source from within Australia if I can. So but that said, so basically at the end of June I had a balance of 151.15 rolling into July, and just with the way from the 1st of July through to the 29th, the week commencing 29th of July, basically gave me 5 weeks worth of budget. So I had another $100 to add onto that. So I started the month with $251.15. So I will show you what came into my collection, as well as something I bought from overseas that hasn't arrived yet. So I won't go into detail other than to tell you how much it cost me. So the thing that I do have here, which may surprise some of you, because I think a lot of you thought that the first thing I would buy would be the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette, and that is still on my mental wish list. So I dare say that before the year is over, I will have bought that, and I am really happy that I did do the dupe for that, because it just reassured me that I do like the color story. And as I've mentioned before, one of the downsides of duping, if it's not done with singles and you can't build a magnetic palette, is the fact that you're working for such a large palette. You're working from so many palettes, and it's just an absolute pain, and you end up, I guess, being very distracted by all the other colors in all the other palettes. So it's not the same as just having those colors. Unfortunately, I don't have that big of a singles collection, at least not compared to some people, and not all of them are magnetic pans that I can just pop out and put into a magnetic palette. So I do take the good thing from duping is that before I actually spend the money on a palette, that I can either confirm one way or the other whether I do like the color story or not. So yeah, spoiler alert, it wasn't the Mercury Retrograde palette that I ended up buying, but it was something that I believe may have come out at a similar time. And as with the Mercury Retrograde palette, I wasn't sure. There's something about it that I really liked, but I was also scared that I wouldn't use the whole palette. And the palette that I did buy was the same, and I found that since the start of this year, with experimenting more and more, being more active on Instagram, and being on YouTube, I have definitely sort of branched out a bit more with the colors that I've used, and it reassured me that this particular palette I bought would not go to waste, that I would dip into everything in it. So the palette I did end up buying was this one, the Kali Bible palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Can you see that one? Sorry guys, I didn't put my ring light on today. I'm hoping I've got enough light coming in. So anyone, I'm sure everyone has seen the inside of this palette. I have not even swatched it. It's only just arrived, so it got in just in time for the end of the month. So that is the palette there. I'll just take off this protective sleeve so you can see the colours a bit better. My concern with this palette initially was these sort of cooler tones across the top, that I wouldn't use them, but I have, like I said, been dipping into more cool tone shades this year, and I'm learning to work with them a little bit better. This bottom row, sort of the more warmer tones, I knew I would have no issues with them, but it's one of those palettes that I wasn't able sorry, got a bit of a dry throat. It was one of those palettes that I haven't been able to get out of my mind, and I believe that it is limited edition, so yeah. And I do have a bit of a collection of the ADH palettes. I'm not sure moving forward whether I will buy many more palettes from that brand, but this is definitely one that was on my mental wish list, so I have finally got it, and I'm hoping that I will dip into that soon. Now, that said, when I bought that from Mecca, they had another Beauty Loop box, which I believe comes out, I think, 4 times a year. I am the top level of that still, but I believe that will be changing very shortly, that I will drop down, because obviously since being on my no-buy, I have not maintained the level of spending that I had. Sorry, I don't know why my throat is so dry today, and I don't have a drink with me, so bear with me. But basically, I with buying that palette, I did get the Mecca Beauty Loop box, which comes with different samples. I haven't really paid too much attention. I just opened the box and chucked them in my basket with all the entries. And so yeah, I've got a few things here to show you. So there's an Eau de Parfum by from Floral Street. Usually I find that I don't really like the scents of these samples, so we'll see. I'll see if I can pop it open and smell it. But yeah, I'm not really one for florally sort of perfumes. Oh, is it a spray? No, it's not. What have I done? I thought it had a cap on it, but it's just a straight out spray. So actually, I may have to stop this video. Anyway, I'll see how that, it's called Wonderland Peony. First off, it doesn't smell too bad, but we'll see how it settles on the skin. Ugh, I am really struggling with my throat. The other sample I got was the Verso Super Eye Serum. It's like a retinol specifically for your under eye. I've already had 2 of these in previous Mecca Beauty Loop boxes. I've managed to finish up one. I'm working through another one, and now I've got this, but I've also got the full size. So I am thinking that I'll probably pass this along. Maybe maybe to my sister. I'll check, because like I said, I'm catching up with her soon, and I'll see whether or not she is interested in using it. Okay, what else did we get? So it's the Amore Pacific Moisture Plumping Nectar Cream. So I'm guessing it's probably going to be, for me, like a nighttime moisturizer. It's just a little tub. Yeah, well, you see, it's hard to see inside, but there's a decent amount in the sample, so that'll probably last me at least, I don't know, maybe a month or so. I don't tend to use a lot of night creams because my skin is quite oily. I only put a very small amount of moisturizer on. Oh, okay, something I did not need. A Stila mascara to add to the gajillion mascara samples I've already got. It's the Magnum Triple X mascara. Sorry, I can see that you're getting a bit of reflection there still, but anyway, so I'll chuck it in with them. I'll get to it eventually. It's sealed, so hopefully it won't dry up before I get to it. Okay, the last sample I got is another mascara, Deluxe Limitless Lash Mascara by Ilia. It's the brand. Yeah, there you go. So that's the sample there. I'm not going to open it and see what the brush is like inside because I don't want it to start drying out. So, anyway, so they're the entries. One of my mascaras rolled away, but I'll get to that later. So the one thing that, oh god, it's 15 minutes into the video already, and only just got through my entries, so I'm gonna have to really try and get through the empties and exits. So the other thing that I spent my budget on in July was something that I have been wanting to do for a couple of years now, and I'm really glad that I managed to save up a lot of my budget sort of pre-July. So I ended up buying from Sydney Grace, which is a US indie brand, and I've been wanting to order from them for a very long time, and they had their Christmas in July sale, so I finally bit the bullet and placed an order. Unfortunately, it hasn't arrived yet. Not sure when it will come. It could be still weeks away, but I ordered a palette, and part of the they have different promos on every day throughout the sale, and basically when I ordered the palette I got a free palette. So I'm really excited about trying this brand, and I've heard the formula of their shadows is really good. So I ended up spending in total $152.49. That's including the Australian GST and the shipping. And I ended up spending on the Kali Bible palette $82 at Mecca, and then the Beauty Loop stuff was they're all free samples. So and then I ended up getting a refund of $6.98 for some reason from Sydney Grace. So I know that they had a few issues with overcharging, and they were fixing them. So anyway, so all up, my total spend for the month, out of $251.15, I spent $227.51, leaving me with $23.64 to roll over for August. So basically with August, there's only the 4 weeks that fall into the month, and because I've got, it's weird the way I've done it, but I went from the first, whatever day the 1st of January fell on, and went sort of, so whenever, I think it might have been a Wednesday. Yeah, it was a Wednesday. So basically I've got 5 weeks in July and then only 4 weeks in August, as far as budget's concerned. So all up, I've got $103.64 to spend. So at this point, I don't know what I'm going to buy, but we shall see, and that is for another video. So okay, so I'm going to try and get through these empties as quick as possible because I have talked way too long about the empties. So I did decide to roll in my June empties and exits into my July one, so I'm going to grab those few things first. So the first thing I have is the Ocean Mist Volume Shampoo. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's Sichuan, maybe, Stockholm. It was a 100ml bottle that I got. I believe that was another Mecca Beauty Loop sample from quite a while ago. I really honestly don't have anything much to say about this because it was just, to me, it was just a shampoo. It was fine, but I wouldn't be repurchasing that one. I had a Glam Glow, the Star Potion Liquid Charcoal Clarifying Oil. Actually, a tiny little bottle there, but I only use the smallest amount, and I've been using on my neck and my chest. As I've said, I don't use oils on my face, but it was really nice that because my fingertips are already sort of oiled up from rubbing that in, when I just dabbed the tiniest amount in my moisturizer, it spread really easily on my face. And yeah, that was the only way that even the slightest trace of oil gets onto my face. I liked it, but would I repurchase it? Probably not, because I don't think I'd go out of my way to buy an oil just for my neck and my chest. It's just a way that I'm trying to use up what I've got in my collection. I do have quite a few oils still to get through. But if you're in the market for it, I quite liked it. So, but I guess it's a very personal sort of thing. I can't even remember where I got that one from. And the next empty from June is the MAC Extended Play Lash Mascara. My daughter bought me this, I believe it was a birthday or Christmas present quite a few years ago. Took me a long time to get this open, and then once I opened it, it lasted me a really long time as well. And I absolutely love it. It's got a very, very fine brush on it. So it is great for doing your lower lashes, and it's also very, very good for extending. So what I tended to do was use a volumizing mascara, and then I would go in with this one to give me the length, and I really like that. And I probably at some point will repurchase, so but not until I get through all the spares that I've got. And the way I'm going with my Beauty Loop boxes, I just keep getting more and more mascaras. Literally, they put one, I think, in every single Beauty Loop box, and to get two in one box is just ridiculous in my opinion. Now the one exit, so the declutter from June, was my Colourpop brow pencil. It's in the colour Arched Auburn. For me, even though I'm a redhead and a natural redhead, this is still too red for me. So I prefer to have, I have got fairly light eyebrows, but I do prefer to go sort of more of a light brown rather than a red. So I will be seeing, my daughter has a friend who is a lot more red than I am, and she tends to still use the Auburn pencils, so I'll try and sanitize that one and pass that one on. So that's everything for June. So July, I am going to quickly let you know I've got a few hair care products here. So it's a shampoo and conditioner from Sukin Hair Care. These were samples I got given when I went into Priceline Pharmacy a little while ago. I didn't finish them, so they're actually an exit because they absolutely trashed my hair. It's starting to get a bit better. I'm masking twice a week on the ends, but I have been, a few of you suggested using an oil. I do have some hair oil, so I've sort of been putting a little bit of that in as well. But my scalp with these got so dry. I wasn't prepared to finish them off. I got through most of it and my hair was just getting worse and worse, so I just thought, no, it's not worth it. They're going, so definitely do not recommend, and definitely not a repurchase. So they're gone. Another hair care product was a Living Proof texture mist. I bought this from Mecca and it was fairly expensive. I originally got I think it was around the 40 odd Australian dollars for 148 mils. Now I started this back sort of towards the end of January, but then I ended up using a different hair product that I'd had in my stash to try and use that up, so it has not lasted 6 months. It actually didn't last very long at all, a couple of months at most. And the sample that I used of this, it gave heaps of volume to my hair. I really enjoyed it, but I think that from the time that lapsed from when I used the sample to when I actually opened up, like I'd bought this and it was sitting there for a while, so the time that I actually got to this, my hair has grown significantly since then. And it's not that this is a bad product, it's just the fact that it's not suitable for my hair length and the weight that I've got in it. So if my hair was shorter, it would probably work fine, but I have another product that I prefer much more over this one, so I will not be repurchasing this. So speaking of hair care products and oils, I had this Sexy Hair Love Oil. This was given to me as a sample from an eBayer that I purchased off in the past, and yeah, so I've actually had it open for a fair while. I never have really had too much of an issue until this year with dry ends, so I I guess because I haven't been getting as cut as regularly, and after using that trashy shampoo and conditioner, I've really needed it. So that is now empty, and I do have other hair oils that I will use up, and whether or not I repurchase this, I don't know. I'll use up the other ones I've got, and I'll make a decision then. I can get this within Australia, so we'll see. So that's a maybe. Okay, what else do we have here? So these are two products I was really happy to get rid of. I've used them completely up. They're from an Australian skincare brand called Skinstitute. This is their multi-active oil. So I was using that prior to using the Glam Glow one, but then I ended up using the Glam Glow one up, and I decided to work on this one again until I got rid of it. So you can see that one. It has a really nice essential oil smell to it. I originally got it when I was having problems with my skin a few years ago, and I was going to a beautician to get some facials done to try and get rid of the congestion, funnily enough, on my chin. Anyway, it's the packaging, like the lid it's broken, it's all cracked, and you can see it's quite gunky from the oil building up, and I just wasn't really enjoying using it anymore, even though the scent of it was quite nice, and sort of made me, when I did use it, made me sort of feel like I had been to a salon. But even though I could barely pump any of this out anymore, I ended up having to unscrew the lid because there was still a fair bit in the bottom. And to finally use this up, I was not just using it on my neck and chest, but I was using it on my legs as well, because being winter here, they're getting a bit drier, and I actually really liked it to use it as a body oil as well. So that sort of made me dig out another body oil that I do have in my collection, because I'm not really enjoying using the moisturizer, like the body lotion at the moment that I've got. So sort of, I'm not really sticking to things. I'm just trying to use stuff up. So sometimes I use things for a little while, I get sick of it, I end up using something else. So all of a sudden, you know, you have no empties, and then you get a few all in 1 month. So but anyway, so that was done. And the same brand, it was the Skinstitute enzymatic micro peel. It's a soothing micro exfoliant. I didn't like this. I didn't like the smell of it. It really just didn't feel like it did much. But at the time, as you probably all know, I didn't have oily skin, certainly since I've gone off the pill, and this is sort of more towards the dry, dehydrated and sensitive skin. But I basically put it on and it didn't dry down, so it wasn't one of those peels that you could rub off and get off the old skin. It just sat on there, and then you rinsed it off, and I honestly did not feel like it did anything for me at all. And I just was determined to use it up though, because it's not cheap skincare, and now I can move on to other masks in my collection. So a few more things here. Oh, I've got another mascara quickly. That was the Hank and Henry one. This was a double-ended mascara, so it has a really fine brush on one end for your lower lashes, and that is now done. Quite a while ago I used up the other end, which it's very gunky now. Anything you pull out is just all, yeah, it's not something you could put, you can't use it. It would just literally leave lumps on your eyes, on your eyelashes. So but both ends of that are now finally finished. So that's two mascaras I've gotten out of my collection this last 2 months. So I've got a MAC Prep and Prime Natural Radiance primer, and it was Radiant Yellow. I actually quite liked this. It didn't stand out against any other primer though. I one day I would really like to try the e.l.f. Pore, is it the Pore Putty primer? Something like that. Anyway, this is only a small sample. This was actually in my Pan collab, Project Pan, and yeah, finally finished, so I probably wouldn't repurchase those. So nothing wrong with it, just nothing special either, and like everything else, I've got heaps in my collection to get through, so by the time I get through all of them, I probably will have forgotten about it. So then I've got this, it's just like one of those cards that you get, like sample cards, had the shape of lips on it. It was a Charlotte Tilbury sample of their Kissing Fallen from the Tree lipstick in Bitch Perfect. I didn't notice it on my lips, basically. Yeah, did not make me want to buy the full-size lipstick at all. The other lip product I got, this is the unique one that I got sent from Jen, the Lucrative Lip Gloss. The colour was way too bright for me. I did give it a go. I had a couple of uses, very bright pink. It actually wanted more like a lip oil, and the first day that I used it, it felt like it had sort of, not it peeled, but it was like any bits of dry skin I had on my lips sort of seemed to lift. So I guess if that's what you wanted to use it for, you could, but I just didn't like the colour on me, and I've got so many lip products that there's just nothing making me want to use it. So it's not to say I wasn't appreciative of receiving it and trying it. I absolutely am, but it's just not something that, yeah, I want to dip into again. So I'm going to declutter that one. I'll stick with the unique products while I'm at them. Now, these I can get delivered to Australia, but they're not based in Australia, and I found that they were actually significantly expensive, and a lot of stuff is actually out of stock. So I used up both the masks that Jen sent me, and the exfoliating mask. It was heaps of fun. I really enjoyed it. So if you are a person that's keen to try some of their products and it's within your budget, definitely liked this one. It was one that you applied and then it foamed up itself on your skin. It felt really cool, and then you just leave it on for 10 minutes or so and rinse it off. So I have had a breakout on my chin, but since using it, but I don't believe that it was because of that mask. I think with any masks, it tends to bring out any sort of gunk sitting underneath your skin anyway. So I think it would have done it. I'm constantly getting breakouts on my chin. Just this month's been worse than usual. In the same week, I ended up using the other one. This was a perfecting mask. It's got like it's a charcoal one. I'm not sure if you can see on the back. You can see the black there. It dried down to an extent, and then you just left it on and took it off. To me, it was nothing special and above any other sort of charcoal mask, but yeah, it was still nice to try something different. Something I did also try from Unique was the face primer, that little sample. Again, didn't stand out to be anything special, and then over the top of it I used the foundation sample. It's the Mineral Touch liquid foundation. Wrong color for me. Very thin formula, good if you like light coverage. So I found that the colour settled into my skin a little bit better, so it wasn't so bad once it had been on my face and dried down, and then I ended up obviously putting powder and stuff over the top anyway, but probably not something that builds to the right level of coverage that I like, but it wasn't a bad product. So if you do like a thin formula foundation, then that might be a good one if you're keen to try it. And I'm finally down to the last thing, thank goodness, because we're past the half-hour mark, and I do try to keep my videos a little bit shorter. So the other thing that I used up was the Laura Mercier. It's the translucent loose setting powder. So it doesn't look empty, because what I've done is I've actually decided to keep this because of the sifter on top, and I've put the RCMA no color powder in there. So oh my goodness, I'm probably going to get buried with this thing. There's so much product in there, and I only ever use it just sort of for contouring my nose. I was using it to sort of carve out here, but I just found I'm pale enough. I really don't need to have this on my face as well. So but yeah, so the actual loose powder sample from Laura Mercier I have used up, and yes, I did like it, and there is a good chance that once I use the rest of my powders, that it will be in the running for being repurchased. So because I found that it does last quite a while, and it is fairly price competitive with even products like Colourpop, because you get a fair amount of product for the price. So yeah, so that's it, guys. That is the last thing. So very long-winded empties. Not many for June, but plenty for July. And I will try to get another inventory video done. Hopefully my husband will be home shortly and I won't have a quiet household, so I don't think I'm going to get another video done today. Maybe tomorrow, because said I leave in a couple of days and I don't know how long I'm going to be gone for. Hopefully I've got enough videos done to time me over till I get back. So being the end of the month, I know in the past I've generally done like a monthly sort of check-in, and I think I'll just do that when I get back. So thank you for joining me for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.